The concept of putting ideas to the test is encouraged by the Quran. So, is the use of witnesses in order to validate conclusions? It must be noted that no other religious text challenges its reader in such ways. The use of falsification tests is unique to the Quran. Let's summarize these concepts that the Quran puts forward with regards to knowledge, using our senses to observe the world around us, thinking and reflecting on what we observe, putting ideas to the test, and providing witnesses to validate our conclusions. If these concepts seem familiar to you, it's because they resemble the modern scientific method. Modern students of science understand that everything must be proven. You cannot make claims about scientific theories based on assumption without experimentation. The scientific method is the process by which science is carried out. It involves observing a natural phenomenon, making a hypothesis based on the observations, and verifying the hypothesis by carrying out experiments. If the hypothesis turns out to be correct, then it becomes a theory, a proven hypothesis. If it isn't correct, then further observation will be performed. The original hypothesis will be updated and the whole process will repeat itself. For example, a fun anecdote we are taught in school is that an apple fell onto the head of the scientist Sir Isaac Newton when he when when he was sitting under a tree. Based on this observation, he then came up with the hypothesis that there must be some force or attraction that makes the apple fall to the ground. He tested his hypothesis, and this is how he devised the law of gravity. Now, whether or not an apple really did fall into Sir Isaac Newton's head isn't important. What matters is that it is the scientific method which allows him to validate his ideas about how gravity works. Now, you can appreciate why this experimental approach to science is perhaps one of the greatest ideas ever conceived of. It is the basis of all scientific progress, and without it, we wouldn't have devised laws of physics such as gravity. Theories it is theories such as this that he have allowed mankind to create the automobile, computer, and travel into space. You may be wondering who came up with such an important idea before Islam. The ancient Greek philosophies of science were predominant in Western civilization. The Greeks believed that knowledge should be advanced through deduction, which means that you rely on reason alone without taking evidence into consideration. The development of a scientific process resembling the modern method was developed by the 10th century Muslim scholar Ibn al-Haytham. He is regarded as the father of the scientific method and was the first scientist in history to insist that everything be proven through induction, which uses observations and experimentation to challenge previously held theories. His process involved the following stages: observation of the natural world, stating a definite problem, formulating a robust hypothesis, test the hypothesis through experimentation, analyze the results, interpret the data, and draw conclusions, publish the findings. Ibn al-Haytham first studied theology, the Quran, and he stated that it was the Quran that inspired him to study philosophy and science. I decided to discover what it is that brings us closer to God, what pleases Him most, and what makes us submissive to His ineluctable will. Using his revolutionary scientific method, Ibn al-Haytham made leaps and bounds in the field of optics. In his book, The Book of Optics, he was the first to disprove the ancient Greek idea that light comes out of the eye, bounces off objects, and comes back to the eye. He delved further into the way the eye itself works, using dissections. He was able to begin to explain how light enters the eye. It focused and is projected to the back of the eye. The translation of the Book of Optics had a huge impact on Europe. From it, later European scholars were able to understand the way light works, and devices such as eyeglasses, magnifying lenses, telescopes, and cameras were developed. Without our Ibn al-Haytham scientific method, we may still be living in a time when speculation, superstition, and unproven myths are the basis of science. It is not a stretch to say that without his ideas, the modern world of science that we know today would not exist.